Make it dangerous.
Money in progress. All right, we got episode 6 coming up in the house. Let's go ahead and get the BS out of the way. All the links to the YouTubes in the description. If you're listening to this on Spotify, go like, subscribe, hit the bell or whatever. If you're listening or watching this on YouTube, links still in the bio of the video to get to our Spotify that we can listen to the audio form. Go ahead and get wrestling out of the way since we were just talking about it before we hit record. Let's just go ahead. What was our favorite match? Mine personally, it's super hard to pick anything over CM Punk coming back, but that cage match was
10.
10 out of 10. Recommend.
I was literally like jumping out of my seat on some of those spots. I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ, someone's gonna die."
Yep.
Is it unanimous cage match?
Cage match.
Okay.
Unanimous.
It might be easier to pick our second favorite match of that whole pay-per-view because it was fucking stacked.
Second match would probably have to be the CM Punk match. That match was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sentimental.
And the handshake at the end from Sting, 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite part is that they weren't going to just prolong it. Because it kind of, it would be cool down the line to see CM Punk go against Sting, right? But I'm glad that they had the handshake at the end, signifying that this chapter's over. He's moving on to someone else down the line. Who?
Yep.
I don't know, but it's literally wide open as far as like who you could go against. He has talked an awful lot about Jungle Boy and kicking his head in. So,
did you not watch the recent episode?
Yeah, I did. I'm talking as far as the pay-per-view goes. The way they put it.
Pay-per-view. Okay.
Yeah. As far as that goes, the way they kind of tied it off, we're good to go. Because usually wrestling writing goes, oh, well, naturally, he wants to go against Sting now. It wasn't like cut and dry,
Yeah.
BS like that. I did watch the episode Wednesday, and with Taz having his little bitch fit. I think he kind of jumped the gun a little bit because he didn't even get to the Team Taz members, although in other interviews outside of like Dynamite and stuff, he has mentioned Ricky Starks and stuff like that. But I think he may have made a little boo-boo and jumped the gun before he even mentioned literally anyone from Team Taz, present or past. But, there it is. He had his little, Taz had his little bitch fit on camera.
He had his little spotlight.
Personally, I think it would be super cool to see him go against Ricky Starks because he's one of my favorites, just regardless of him being in Team Taz or whatever. Like, him and Ricky Starks would be phenomenal. Second match.
Which one's Ricky Starks? Was he out there?
No.
Okay.
The person who was out there was Will Hobbs and Hook. Hook is Taz's son in real life. Okay, speaking of Will Hobbs, the big beefy dude, he had the match right after that, like after the commercial break. Will Hobbs went against one of the guys from oh my god, what is that tag team called? Something Flight. It's escaping me. But did you see where he got concussed? Hobbs did. Like there was a super weird finish, like slow-mo finish, where he was just kind of just not there. And I rewound it, and whenever that kid jumped over the top rope and did the front flip and landed on Will Hobbs on the outside, he hit Hobbs. When Hobbs went down, the back of his head went bap on the fucking ground. And from there to the finish, he was just halfway there, halfway not.
Shit.
Yeah, it was bad. It looked real bad. Nick, did you say what your second favorite match was? Was it CM Punk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about favorite moments from All Out. I mean, as much as I love Daniel Bryan, I think the way that they introduced Cole and Bryan within the same segment was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm really excited about Adam Cole, just for the
Yeah.
fact that he's just cool. And like out of that whole little faction, everyone boos them, but everyone still cheers for Adam Cole. Even on Wednesday, he talked to Tony Schiavone like dog shit so he could get heat. And people didn't like it. You know, they booed him a little bit, but like before they even left, they were still cheering for Adam Cole. Like he's
Yeah.
just too fucking likable.
So I was reading something, a couple comments saying, how long do you think Adam Cole is going to be part of the elite? Because he's one of those where he's not second. And with him being with them, he'll be second to Kenny Omega.
Yep. He plays real well with factions, but at this point in his popularity and just the way he holds himself, his promo skills are fucking great. He's obviously a great wrestler. Like he doesn't need a faction, but it seems like he's always had one since I've been aware of him. Like before the Elite, he was, you know, in the Bullet Club, which is kind of the same thing. But in WWE and NXT, he was part of, oh, fuck's sake.
I think it's Undisputed.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Undisputed.
Undisputed Era.
Yeah. So like he had a faction there up until like basically the ends. But like he's basically proven that he doesn't need people
Anybody.
around him to be a main event star. But
Yeah.
I can understand he was away for 4 years while he was in WWE, so he didn't get to have fun with the Elite. So like while it's still going, why not? You know, have fun with your friends. Right. And if anything, he has an element to the group that I like. Like I'm not suddenly I'm not just totally done and bored with the whole Elite thing. Like with what they've been doing for like the past year or so, sort of burn out on it. So with Adam Cole being there and being able to talk on the mic like in a way that I can respond to, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my favorite moment of All Out, was not only the fact that they debuted, but the way they did it. Like, did you see everything at the end of the show?
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was perfect. Like, of course, and he said, Kenny's line was something about, you know, no one can beat me because they're something, or they're already dead, which you guys watch the BTE YouTube videos that they do every week. Mm-hmm. They killed off Adam Cole's character whenever he went to WWE. So that was the big clue in. That's why everybody like gasped as soon as he said that. So whenever he came out, big pop, it's like, oh, they're building towards him going against the Elite. Then Swerve, you know, he's with them, and then cue Daniel Bryan's music, which is new entrance music, is sick. I'm
like
all for it.
So I told Nicholas this either yesterday or the day before when I was watching the post All Out with Daniel Bryan and everything. I was reading the comments on YouTube and someone explained it best. This is the Elite era.
Yep.
The All Elite.
Yep.
And WWE is going down the drain slowly but surely.
Except, mark my words, and I'm not the first person to say this, but I think that they're getting ready to sell. I think.
There was of himself ABC.
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumors for as long as I can remember, like Vince may sell to whoever, but like, man, for them to get rid of that much talent and to use the budget cuts explanation on all of them, like never in the history of me watching wrestling do I remember them letting go of not just one or two big names, but like
a bunch.
Yeah,
like two handfuls of big names.
Someone posted a picture of like the main roster or whatever, and there was like Raw, SmackDown, and then they didn't even include NXT. It was Raw, SmackDown, and then AEW's main event roster, and just there's no one like on Raw and SmackDown. Like you've got your key figures that you basically see every week, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then you look at AEW, and there's just it's fucking stacked.
Stacked.
Like,
And they're
I mean,
using all of them correctly. That's the thing.
Oh yeah.
they're using them as best as they can with 3 hours of television a week. Like
Yeah.
outside of their YouTube shows, which they basically use that for like enhancement talent and like
Yeah, All Elite Dark, I think it's what it's called.
yeah, it's dark and dark elevation, and like they're kind of the same, but like dark is more for your indie people who aren't signed. They come, it's basically like them trying out to see, you know, if AEW likes what they see or not, or just to give them work, etc. But they use them for a number of reasons. Like they'll use indie people with their signed people. Usually, you know, it's a way to keep their signed people sharp, just in case, like, you know, they could go a week or two without being on a match on TV, but this gives them a way to, you know, stay prime, etc.
One way you can also explain it is dark and dark elevation is basically WWE's Heat and Velocity.
Yep. Or like main
Ever.
event,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I've heard of Main Event. Haven't heard of the other two.
Those are older. Those are like Attitude Era type
Yeah.
of shit.
They moved the date of Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Didn't they move it back? No,
Yes.
no. They moved it forward, right?
Yeah, it back and then moved it forward.
Okay.
They moved it October 1st. They originally had it for October
22nd, I think. I thought it was the 22nd.
at time. Then they moved it to January. Then they moved it back. They actually moved it up from its original release date. And people are thinking it's because how good Shang-Chi did on its opening weekend. I'm actually going to see tomorrow.
I heard it's good.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it at the drive-in tomorrow.
Ooh,
Nice.
up in Athens?
Yeah.
I've never been there. Never.
Neither.
For about a year, I lived like right down the street too. It was during the pandemic, so like I guess it doesn't really count. But still, like I've never went to that movement or the drive-in.
They were gonna move back Spider-Man No Way Home, but they're just keeping it where it is. And don't be mad about PlayStation exclusives.
You know what? I have okay. I've got a little bit more movie stuff before I pick a bone with Sony. And obviously, I love Sony PlayStation, but Jesus Christ, is that lineup just super cool?
Say about games coming out to PlayStation 5.
All right, before we get there, because I'm gonna probably have a breakdown with Sony, but let's go ahead and Matrix 4. Did you guys ever watch Matrix 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Good. Did you like it? Where we at with it?
I loved them.
In particular, I love the first one. I've probably seen that movie about 100 times.
Third one?
I watch it the first one I watch every time it comes on. The second one, it's good. But the third one, I'm just like, oh, the third one's on. That's cool.
Okay. So Matrix 1 is probably my favorites. And I did remember liking 2 and 3. But for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what happened in either one of them. The first one, I have a really good memory for, just because I watched it so much. I remember I did like it, but like today, after watching the Matrix 4 trailer, which looks so good.
Oh yeah.
I had to go back and I basically typed in YouTube what happened at the end of Matrix 3, and there was like a breakdown video, and I had to like remind myself. I was like, man, I know I've seen this movie, but I don't remember any of that. Because when I watched the trailer, I was like, this looks great. But in my head, I was like, but didn't he die? Like him and the girl, the main, I can't remember her name. the main chick from the three first movies. For the life of me, I remember that they died, and I looked at that video, and sure enough, they did die, seemingly at the end of 3. But I don't know, man. It looks so cool, but I feel like this trailer is very on purpose, very misleading as far as what the movie's about. Like they're leaning heavy on the red pill, blue pill, which arguably they didn't lean on really at all. I mean, they did, but they didn't in the
Yeah.
first 3 movies.
And because of that, we're back to the fucking red, blue, fucking blue pill fucking meme.
That's true. That's highly annoying, but
Yeah.
Tired of it already.
it does translate to, I mean, life right now. I mean, really life for like the last handful of decades, but especially right now where everyone's sucked into like, social media or podcasts. So, I mean,
That emphasis.
like,
Podcast.
subscribe,
Yeah.
download,
Read
listen,
it.
share our shit, please.
Hit that bell. Hit that bell.
Politely smack
No.
the dog shit out of that bell, please.
Please.
Beat the shit. Like and subscribe.
What he said. Anyways, I mean, it does relate. It translates to life now. So I mean, like, it all makes sense, and I'm really excited for it, as long as the storytelling is there. I think what the first one did best was it gave great storytelling along with the action, and then since the action was so cool and revolutionary, the second and third one really leaned into the action part. Like there was that
Yeah.
one fight scene on the second or third one between Mr. Anderson and whatever the other guy's name is, Neo or whatever, and the other guy.
I think
It was like a
Keanu
30.
Reeves was Neo.
Yeah, Neo, and I can't remember his fucking name, but you know what I'm talking about, the FBI looking guy, the bad guy.
Yeah.
There was that fight scene that lasted for like fucking, I feel like it was like 30 minutes or more. Like it was cool, but it was like, but what about the story?
what's going on?
Yeah, like what?
It's
what
like they made
what
a
are we doing?
movie for story, and then the other movie is like, this is all action.
This
No
is not
story.
action. This is all like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah,
So much explosions.
yeah, and it's cool. It really is cool, but as long as you have that balance of storytelling too, and I feel like it's probably why I haven't seen the second or third one 100 times like the first one.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on real quick. Have you guys been watching What If, the Marvel What If?
Yes.
Did you watch the zombie one?
Yes, I'm getting it. I personally think they dropped the ball.
I think it was fun, but like, is there a part 2?
Yeah, like same way with episode 1. They could have made a whole different one as episode 2 as what if Roger became the Winter Soldier.
Right.
Because if you watch it, he's getting the
Words?
God. Yeah. He's getting experimented on like Bucky did. So they could have made a whole nother episode about that. But no, they dropped the ball and put I think from episode 1 to 2, they dropped the ball a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because episode 1 was fan fucking time. Episode 2 was all right. Episode 3 and 4 were garbage.
I liked the. I mean, I liked them all. They were all fun, but I
Yeah.
feel like the zombie one, like there was
so much going on.
Well, I mean, I'm good with it as long as it tied itself up at the end. Like whenever the credits started rolling, I was like, whoa, wait. Like there was no climax or anything. Like, what are we doing? They didn't. I mean, they didn't cure it. Like they were building towards a cure or anything like that.
And I think what it is, they're like, all right, you want to watch the rest of it? Go read the fucking comics.
Well,
Fuck you.
no, that wouldn't even work either because it didn't follow the comics, which
Well, yeah.
I'm okay with. I'm okay with them because I don't want to watch a carbon copy of the comic I've already
Yeah.
read years and years ago. So I'm cool with that. But like, it just feels like there was no ending. It was just like
So much they
credits.
could have.
I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't like episode like part 2 or whatever next week.
Yeah.
But like, it didn't say it from what I remember. It didn't say, hey, part 2 next week.
Hey, next week for part 2. And it didn't say like to be continued or what shit.
Right.
It was just like dropping it right here. Go fuck yourself.
To be fair, I definitely haven't Googled it or researched it in any way, shape, or form. I watched it on my lunch break, so there could be a part 2, and we're totally like sucking on our toes right now. But okay.
Have you episode of Titans yet? Because I haven't.
I'm almost finished with the episode that just dropped today.
On you right now, how do you scale it from last episode?
Oh fuck! What was the last episode? Remind me.
The background of how Red Hood got the stuff for his anti-fear toxin, I guess you want to call it.
Okay, that I liked that episode. It was fun, and like, because the whole season up to this point was basically forming more questions in my head than answering anything. Yeah. So it was like, okay, here's the crowd pleasing episode. Here's all the answers for the most part. Like, oh, okay, now all of this shit in my head makes sense.
What kind of makes me angry, I know we talked about it before DJ got on here, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. They're not following how Red Hood came to be. 1, there should be a J right here. 2, it has nothing to fucking do with Scarecrow.
Yeah. I'm good with it. I'm good with them going off of book as long as what they do is good. And so far, I like it. But the one gripe I do have is Scarecrow himself. I don't really like the way, like the Charles Manson thing that he's been doing.
And do not recommend.
Yeah.
I think the one thing they kept was the Lazarus pit. But why the fuck is there a Lazarus pit underneath Arkham?
Because why not?
You never know when you're going to need to bring someone back to life.
I think he said, like, Ra's left that Batman doesn't know about.
Yeah, he's like, you're lucky that I knew about a Lazarus pit that your Batman didn't know about. It's cool. But, okay, during all, the one issue and the one question that they will need to answer, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a plot hole. Where the fuck is Batman at?
Yes.
At this point,
where the fuck did he go?
I mean, they like, okay, I understand maybe that he's so distraught that he's cut off communication, went off into some dark hole somewhere, whatever, to process. I can understand that, but they've literally left him. It showed him leaving voicemails to Bruce. So it's like during all of this, they're going to have to answer why Bruce hasn't come back. Because if literally the reason that I leave town because so-and-so died, and then it turns out so-and-so is not only still alive, but also murdering people and is like the bane of Gotham's existence, why wouldn't he be back already? So they need to have him detained somewhere, dead, something. You got to answer that question, or I don't buy it.
I think what they're doing is they're pushing away for right now, and then probably later in the season, towards then, they're going to bring him back, and then they're probably going to put Red Hood into a vigilante like he did in the comics.
Yeah.
I think the guy who's playing Jason Todd is doing it perfectly.
Yep. I agree with you. He's perfect. At first, I thought he was a little too young, but if you can look past that, and I can buy into it. Did you hear them mention Bruce's son?
No, Damien?
Maybe that was the episode you haven't watched, and I'm sorry. It wasn't a spoiler. He doesn't show up or anything like that, but they briefly mentioned him. So my whole thing with the age of Jason Todd is that, like, how old is he in this series? He obviously looks really young,
He
but
has to
for
be.
Bruce's son to have already maybe have been Robin at some point, I thought he was like one of the last Robins.
He is Robin. If they go directly to Damian Wayne, they're skipping over the entire story arc of Tim Drake being Robin and then Red Robin from excluding Red Robin from him trying to preserve the Robin Hood. I can't believe I just said Robin Hood. Of want to down the middle of Robin from Jason Todd, so he changed it to Red Robin. So if they skip over that, I'm gonna be kind of
Yeah. You know, I don't. There's no way that they're gonna be able to stick by the books, and I know that. The age thing I can get over as long as it always comes back to if you're telling a good story. And at this point, I love the story. I think it's a unique take on Scarecrow. But if I'm being honest, I maybe would have cast him as a different villain. Maybe, I mean, Riddler or something. I don't know. I love the Scarecrow character, but it's odd. It's new.
I think they're doing a really good idea, but like they need to expand on the Red Hood side of the story.
And that's something I think they've built it up vague enough to where they can come back to it, maybe, or incorporate it somehow. Like, all in all, I love the show, and I'm like my little gripes here and there, and you can make a million. I mean, just as a comic fan, like you can point out this wasn't done this way, but I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to gripe. Like my gripes don't alter how much I like the show. So what they're doing is great, and I can't wait for Doom Patrol season. I think it's 3 to come out.
I haven't seen that.
Bro, you haven't seen any of them?
No.
Oh man,
I can binge watch it. Trust me.
you should, and like it's in the same universe as the Titans or whatever. Man, the writing on that show, it's wacky. It's wacky as shit. Just watch it. I don't want to ruin anything for you, but I had no clue who the Doom Patrol was before watching it, and it's great. Like what they're doing is really cool, and it brought Brendan Fraser back, so I'm all for that. Okay, let's talk about the Sony showcase and how fucking unfair it is that they get the KOTOR remake, Spider-Man 2, much less Spider-Man 1 and the Miles Morales one.
That's because Sony owns Spider-Man, but we're not.
That makes sense. But can you explain to me why they also get Wolverine?
Oh, that I have no fucking clue. I got 2 also.
Not you, Sony.
So maybe it's because Marvel has a partnership with Sony right now.
That makes sense.
But let's just
if you think about it, there used to be a Wolverine game early, like PlayStation 2 early.
That dog shit Wolverine Origins game? Oh, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I played that. It was actually pretty good. You had to like fight Sabretooth and shit like that.
Yep, so good.
That got announced. Knights of the Old fucking Republic.
Come on, about fucking time.
There was no gameplay shown. It was just saying, we gotta fight the worst Sith in history, and then shows Revan.
Well, I think the beginning quoted the Sith Creed code or whatever, and then it said some shit about Sith. And then as soon as it showed, like I already knew it was about to happen, just because like just a silhouette. It was either going to be Revan or fucking Kylo, and I highly doubted Kylo. And then it was, of course, Revan. It looked so good too. Like graphic wise, they just only showed him, but it was just like, gee.
But it's only made for the PS5, so that gives me more of an incentive to buy the PS5.
You know, like, well, with like a lot of these new games coming out, it's like I want to get a PC, and game on PC, like down the road eventually. That way I can do editing, streaming, etc. And
Boy.
like I can usually justify the PC by like, oh, I can, all these new games are going to be, PCs, like it's going to be on there. But now I don't even think that this is going to be on PC. It's just solely going to be on PlayStation. And they got so many exclusive games, just not even these new ones they've announced, like the Last of Us 2. I mean, Death Stranding. Like they've got all of these exclusives that are just fucking great.
Horizon, Ratchet and Clank.
One game I'm really excited about is the remake, or no, not remake, remastered version of Prince of Persia.
Is that a thing that's happening? Is Ubisoft doing that?
Yeah. Because I went on Google and I typed in video games announced. That was one of them. It's December 2021.
Look, if we're gonna do a throwback game, or Jesus, just give me a new one of it. Do you guys remember Splinter Cell?
No.
Give me a
Yes.
new Splinter Cell. It's basically it's a stealth game. I don't even remember. It's been so long ago since they've had a new one. But basically, you're like a spy, I guess, right? Like you go through. It's a complete stealth game. Kind of like Hitman in that same vein of type of game, kind of. But like the whole game is built around sneaking and killing your target, if I'm not mistaken. But
It's kind of like
it
Metal
was
Gear
just
Solid,
so fun.
where
Yeah,
you're sneaking
okay,
around,
Yeah.
sneaking around. You got to kill the target, get away.
So like
It was if Metal Gear Solid was straightforward and there was none of that weird sci-fi shit going on.
so
Yes.
hit
Kind of, yeah. I would equate it to Hitman more than Metal Gear. You would just have to play it. It was just a really fun, like puzzle solving game.
yeah.
It was really the first one to do like a sneak type game, as far as I remember, and do it well. I mean, I'm gonna say it like obviously we've all got Xboxes, but I
I
mean,
got both.
I've had almost every PlayStation up until 4, and then now 5, I guess. Fucking PlayStation, man, like they are knocking it out of the park, and I love. Like, I'm not gonna like just pick one or the other. Like, fuck it, I love the Switch too, but PlayStation
I
for the
really
last
enjoy the
2
Switch.
years. Yeah, me too. The PlayStation for the last 2 to 3 years have been killing it,
Oh yeah.
especially with their
Oh
exclusive
yeah.
Sony only
Oh yeah.
shit. I think we'll definitely be getting into a lot of those games as they start coming out and showing new trailers and whatnot.
Called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
If that is not the most indie game name I've ever heard.
I like it. I like it.
This should be Spider-Man 2. No, it's not.
Venom's in it.
Yeah, it shows him at the very end of the trailer.
And honestly, it's about time Venom's in a fucking game.
I do have a theory on that trailer, because the whole trailer, there's this voice doing the narration, and then it starts showing Spider-Man, then shows Miles Morales, and at the very end it does show Venom, but for whatever reason that voice does not scream Eddie Brock to me. That voice sounds more like a Craven. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The villain that
Craven the Hunter,
yeah, Craven the Hunter.
which they're coming out with the movie for that. Craven the Hunter.
I'm down for it. Sinister Six shit, give it to me all day.
All day.
See, I think that trailer was a little like, I think that was purposely like misleading. Like, oh, that was Venom the whole time talking, but I don't think it was. I think Venom, because he's in an anti-hero role as far as the movies go right now, and as far as the comics go, as far as I know, he's still an anti-hero right now. Also, which is relatively new within like the last decade or so. He's been a villain since he's come out, and then only within the last 10 years.
Well, I think he became an anti-hero when like Agent Venom came and Anti-Venom came.
Right. Which I don't know a ton about, but I know.
I know of them. I haven't really read up on them, but I know they exist.
Agent Venom, he's part of a military experiment project.
Right. And that's not Eddie, right? That's not Eddie Brock. That's a completely different person with a different symbiote.
No, the Venom
It's
symbiote.
Venom.
Okay.
So
it's
what
Venom.
they do is they take soldiers that got wounded in combat and they put them in to see if they match with the symbiote. But so with the Agent Venom, they can't be connected with the symbiote longer than 3 days, or they're officially connected with it. So
okay.
the symbiote attaches to him, but in this reality or whatever, it takes 3 days for it to like go into your bloodstream. And he was like on some recon mission and shit hit the fucking fan. And I think his arms went down or whatever. And he was out there for like a week. And then he became the Agent Venom. But then he died and it switched mantles like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, I know that there are like multiple different symbiotes that have different names. And like as far as I know, like that same comic line, like the whole way that Venom turned to anti-hero status is because he was fighting off the other symbiotes. Kind of like Carnage is a different symbiote and is stronger.
Well, in the comic books, Carnage is an offspring of Venom.
All of them are. All of them are children of Venom.
You
And
got
as the
Are you
symbiotes
sure?
go on, yeah,
Yes.
I actually
Yeah.
watched a video on it. As like from Venom to Carnage, Carnage is stronger, and then as the line goes on, they get stronger and stronger. Venom is the weakest one of all of them.
you got Venom, Carnage.
You got Scream, you got Scorch,
Anti-Venom or something.
Anti-Venom.
Venom is not part of Venom.
Look, this is comic books, and they changed the story on everything about 100 different times to serve their own purpose of storytelling.
I think there's
and I get that.
13. I think there's 13.
4 of them that combined into one symbiote, and he's the strongest out of all.
But yet Venom still whoops his ass. Venom's the weakest of all of them, though.
But
weird.
before we get too sidetracked on Venom, and we end up fighting over some big bad Venom stuff. There was one part of the Venom trailer. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but where Venom, like Eddie was like, where you at? I need you. And basically Venom was like, fuck that. That's a red one.
And he's like, I'll let you eat all the people. Promise. All right.
Yeah. I was like,
He's like, oh, you done fucked up saying that. He's gonna eat every motherfucker.
Every motherfucker on the block right now.
Dude, only that actor could turn Venom into a buddy comedy, and it's great. He's just, oh my god, what's his name? The actor who plays him?
Tom Hardy. I almost said Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy.
I do that sometimes too. I just watched. Have you guys seen Taboo, the show? Highly recommend. It's on Hulu, I think.
Years ago.
He always plays weird characters, and that's why I thought he was perfect for Eddie Brock. But like, leave it to him to turn Venom into like a buddy comedy almost. But he's just weird enough to play it right.
Continue on the subject about movies and stuff.
Yep.
If you watch that, and if you watch how Cletus Cassidy turns into Carnage and how Eddie Brock turns into Venom, it looks how it is in the comics or whatever. Eddie Brock and Venom, they're 2 separate people. But Cletus Cassidy and Carnage, they're literally one motherfucker. One motherfucker.
Don't they inject it? They inject it into him, don't they?
Probably in the movie, but in the comic strip, he was bleeding from the explosion Venom got Eddie out of, and a piece of the Venom symbiote got into his bloodstream.
Okay.
And boom goes
So
down. Boom, Carnage became the whole fucking problem for everyone.
Yup.
I'm here for it. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. But we got some badass games coming out. Apparently, we all need PlayStation 5s within the next year or two. Great.
Yup.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, call to action. If you're watching the video on YouTube, links below to our Spotify. Please follow us on there. That honestly, the Spotify helps us out a lot right now. If we can get the most amount of eyes on Spotify for the podcast, that'd be great. If you're listening from Spotify, links in the show notes, and that'll take you to our YouTube. Subscribe there, hit that bell, because what we do on the weekends, we usually play Apex, but we kind of go all over the place. But we stream basically every weekend, and you also get the video form of the podcast on YouTube. But like I said, no matter what you do, like the or follow the Spotify, because it's really where we're trying to focus at. Help us get sponsors. God. All right. Well, that basically wraps it up. We will see you probably next week, maybe a little bit sooner if me and DJ record that new the next anime review for Blue Exorcist. But maybe not.
I'm gonna watch the next 3 Saturday.
Okay.
You can start one on like Titans and shit like that with Doom Patrol.
Oh, you know what? That's actually, I like that idea. We could do we could shift over to Doom Patrol because they're about to come out with a new season. So
Yeah.
we could do that.
What I'll do is when I get home, I'll start.
Is that on Hulu?
No,
It's on HBO Max. DJ, get it done. Get it done. We could do that. We can all 3 do Doom Patrol. We could do maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We got this.
Just fucking follow us on Spotify, and then
Fucking
like
hit
our
that button.
fucking YouTube. Hit that
You don't-
bell politely. Don't break
No.
it.
No.
Don't break it because we need other people to hit it.
And join our stream on the weekends and come talk to us. And
Show
we'll
us
try
some
not to
fucking love.
ignore you.
We'll try.
We're not used to having a whole lot of comments.
Help us.
Come talk to us, please.
Please, we need friends.
All right. See you guys.